and also the chapter in the book and gathering of voices. So I appreciate, Denise, for you coming by and tell us specifically enough. Did you always want to be an actor? Is that something growing up you wanted to do?
No, I wanted to write. But
Well, then see, now you're hitting full circle, right?
it took a while to get there, but I got there. Um, I think there was I think I loved acting at the beginning. It was exciting and and I worked in New York on stage, which was great. And then I did television out here. I did Room 222, which was a great experience. But somewhere along the line, it became clear to me that I had a different voice. I had a voice that saw things in a particular way. And I pay a lot of attention to what's going on in this country. And that plus my own personal journey was telling me you have something to say. You have the skill after I studied writing the skill to say it in a way that other people might be interested. So my first book, Freshwater Road, did very well. It's a novel about the civil rights movement the summer of 1964 in Mississippi. And that book got reviews like I haven't seen on any acting job I ever did or anything else I've ever done. So it was affirmed what I had been feeling for years, that it was time for me to do something that clearly was my voice and not me interpreting somebody else's voice.
No, absolutely. And so that writing was later on, and I think you enjoyed your acting career, but you enjoy writing more, sounds like.
Yes, I do. I do.
What do you think the reason?
I think when it's all said and done, I am a solitary person. It's not necessarily lonely. It's just that I'm very comfortable by myself. And writing is that. I mean, it's definitely not social. Acting is very social. And writing is it's quiet. If I could, I'd have a shed out in the woods and I'd go out there and write because there wouldn't be any traffic, no cell phone ringing, no doorbell ringing, no bills to pay, no driving down the driveway to go do this and that. I'd just be out in the woods with my computer and my books. So I like I I love it. I don't like it. I love it. And that's the way I felt about acting in the beginning. But as
Hmm.
time went by, it just didn't, for me, I didn't graduate into roles that had the kind of emotional complexity that I thought I could do, and also that I found interesting.
Right.
So it got to be kind of boring. So I said, okay, I don't want to spend my life being bored. I don't care how much money I have. So I want to be interested. I want to be excited. I want to
Right.
be happy about the work. So that's where I am now.
So you're not acting anymore?
Mm-mm.
You ever look to go back and act?
I sometimes think about it because a couple of people have said, more than a couple, why don't you do this? Why don't you go audition? I said, do you think I'm going to take my antique self out here and start auditioning again
The good
after
news,
all the
here's the
years?
tip. You don't really have to anymore. Just off Zoom. That's it. I have clients who are actors and they don't need to live in Hollywood anymore. They can live anywhere they
I
want
can do Zoom.
and
Yeah.
do Zoom and get an act. So that's a tip for you. Just if you want to
Thank you.
try it,
I'll
try to
call my
do it.
ex-agent and see if she
Yeah,
wants me
exactly.
to
Or
do
you need to
something.
hire me as your agent. But
Okay.
it's like, because I'm getting involved in the sports industry. I'm wearing all the different hats, but I'm learning from actors. And this is what's so great about writing. You get to meet so many people. And same thing when you're
Hmm.
a journalist. You get to meet so many interesting people and learn from them. And I think that's the missing
Hmm.
component in today's age is we got to learn. They never stop
Yeah,
learning in life. And I think through
right.
writing, you get to learn so much more, don't you?
You have to. You have to because you have to check everything that you say. I mean, even if you're talking, even I have a memoir coming out in November that I've been working on for quite a while. My publisher is the same publisher that published Freshwater Road, my first book. So doing this process, because it's my own story, has been even infinitely more difficult than writing a fictionalized story, which is what the first book was. So, but even in this memoir writing, I had so much research I had to do because, for example, this is a strange kind of story, but it's true. My family name is Nicholas. My father's name was Nicholas. He's deceased. His parents came from Kentucky to Detroit back, I'd say 1918, 1919, because he was born in Detroit. And oftentimes over the years, so where did the Black person get this Nicholas name from? So I said, I got to dig it up. So, and I wasn't writing when all those people were alive, and now they've all passed on, so I can't ask them the question. So I went digging. So in Kentucky, there was a plantation at a little town called Nicholasville.
Oh
And I
my.
went, oh, and they came from Kentucky. So I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I started digging around. I can't prove it though, because people, oftentimes in the Deep South at that time, they didn't keep good records, if they kept any records at all. But certainly all those people have passed on. But I glommed onto that in the memoir, not as a factual reality, but as a possibility, a very real possibility.
Oh, wow.
So, but I had to do a lot of checking, a lot of reading. I had to read the whole history of Kentucky and slavery in Kentucky and because I remember my granddaddy saying that he used to walk the horses from Lexington to Louisville for
Oh
the
my
dirt.
goodness.
I know. And I had all these little bits and pieces in my head that I was trying to string together into a story. And I did it. But I mean, I'm hoping, it's tenuous, but it's real. It's
No,
beautiful.
absolutely. Or let's go to a gathering of voices. What a talented group. And what is ultimately the goal of a gathering of voices?
It's really just to show off our writing, to tell stories to people. Everybody all the people at the table in the Longwood Writers Workshop was a workshop I started, and this is the room that we met in for 5 years, or however long it was. And some people wanted to do fiction, and some people wanted to do memoir. So we did kind of a little mix. Some of the pieces in the book are fiction, and some are their own stories. Um, we worked and worked and worked. I had studied writing with Janet Fitch. I don't know if you remember the book White Oleander, which was a huge hit, and Oprah picked and made into a film. Well, she was my primary writing teacher. And my book, Freshwater Road, came out of her workshop. So
Oh,
at a certain
wow.
point here in the house, I said, it's time for me I wasn't working, I wasn't writing, I was just kind of lopping around. So I said, I think I'll do a writing workshop, and that will get me motivated and up and running again. And that's exactly what happened. So the people who joined the workshop, people I pulled in, are varied. I mean, very different in their careers and life stories, but they all had a passion for writing. And so we went to work, and this book is the result of that work.
So you'd say it was a collaborative effort for sure, but were you the one that put them all together? Would you say?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I put I put the writers together
Yeah,
here
the
for the
writers
Longwood
together.
Writers
That's
Workshop.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
because you think a lot of people have talent that can be writers, but yet this is not their primary thing, like you. This is your profession
Yeah,
now, is
yeah,
writing. And
yes.
what do you think were I think anyone can be a writer. That's the thing that I think that, we all remember school and English
Mhm,
class and oh my gosh, and I'm a former teacher myself and I wasn't a big fan of writing, but I enjoyed teaching writing. I
mhm,
think that the missing component is we're always looking at the mechanics of writing versus
mhm,
are we telling a story that's unforgettable that someone else is going to miss out on if we don't
mhm.
get that person to show it on paper.
Right. And that was certainly one of the things we worked on in this workshop. It was me telling them, you have to go deeper emotionally. You cannot skip
Mm.
along the surface telling a story. You have to invest your own heart, your own soul into every single word you put on the page.
Wow.
Don't leave it out there cold.
Was it
Warm it
hard
up.
for them? Was this hard for some of them?
Well, yeah, for some, I think that there were a couple of people who were further along who had already been studying writing, but a couple of other people who had a hard time kind of getting into the journey. I said, we can get on this train and we can all get on this train together, but we all have to be kind of at the same point creatively. And in time, we got there. And that's why the book works, because we did all kind of get there. There are many different stories in there from many different points of view, because there's 6 people with different life experiences, work experiences, relationship experiences, all of that, and all that's in the book.
Absolutely. And I think what you got dealt from this is you learned so much from them because you
Yes,
had to
I
look over
did.
the writing because you're the writer, right?
Well,
Were you the editor too or not?
no, no,
No.
no. During class time, I would
Hmm.
do some editing with them, but we brought in three editors for the anthology because there was a lot of material, a lot of material.
Powerful. What do you think you, because I'm going to be, I told your team that I'm going to interview every one of them. That's
Oh,
my
good.
goal is to
That's
interview
great.
every one of them because
Great.
that's what I love to do. This is, I mean, if I could do this all the time, which I'm almost getting there,
Uh-uh.
if I would just be able to coach, work with clients, my agency and do podcasting and not have
Mhm.
to do anything else at one point in time, I'm never going to stop this till the day I die. I'm going to be on the mic because you learn so many
So
things.
much. Yeah.
And look at how I was telling you, you should be acting still. You don't have to go out to Hollywood. Come on now. If I create an independent film, I'm gonna have to have you on it in it. There's the
Okay.
bottom line.
Give me a call.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely give you a call because that's what happens when you get to meet people. We're missing
Mhm.
this in this days of COVID after that we're
Yeah.
not having that human element of meeting
Yeah,
people. Thank goodness for Zoom.
we're kind
Huh?
of shut. It's interesting because you see events happening and you see thousands and thousands of people at concerts and things like that. But there's this feeling of isolation,
Yes.
feeling of
Then they go
people.
back to their domicile, but we don't
Right,
have this human connection, this human conversation.
right,
And this is what brings that creativity, saying, okay,
right.
now,
Absolutely.
Denise and I are going to be friends. We're going to figure out what's that. And that's what from just a short 15, 20-minute interview. But that's the
Yeah,
power of relationships and how we're missing out on these things.
yeah.
We're
I agree.
missing out in the sharing part. So with the evolution of AI, which some
Hmm.
people will say yay, some people say nay, this
Hmm.
human connection has to come back, especially with our Gen Z ears and our Gen
Hmm.
X. I
Hmm.
guess they're not Gen X, I mean Gen Z and millennials. They have to we have to get back to this relationship.
One of the indicators of that is, and I've seen some, I can't quote the statistics, but Hollywood statistics on people going to movie theaters, less and less and less,
Yes.
less and less. So that was a big communal
Yeah.
event.
Oh yeah.
Church, less and less and
Less and
less.
less.
Another communal event that people no longer embrace the way they did years ago. So something has changed, and it's computers, it's internet, it's all of these technical things that have made some things easier for us, but separated us.
And the people that are going to survive this whole AI revolution are the ones that still have that people skills, still can
Yeah.
write, still can
Yeah.
communicate with people. Because that's what we're going to have to teach our young people today is communication, because
Yeah.
communication is missing.
It's
Interesting. They
missing.
just did a chat
Well, how
GBT.
can you communicate if you're walking around with a cell phone taking a selfie every 5 minutes? And that's what kids are doing. That they get the phone. They say, you got a phone, and all you do is
Yeah,
walk around
but
like
so it'd be
this.
interesting to see the generation before us talk about us, right? You
Yeah,
probably
well,
talking
I'm sure
about
they have plenty
you,
to
you
say.
you know you know what I'm saying, but I mean, but we all have to come together. But I was saying there was just an update on ChatGPT with the conversational AI, which is unreal. And it's such a great thing. I think it's going to be great for older adults because they're going to be able to have that connectivity and have somebody when they're alone to talk to.
Mhm.
But they updated it to the point that it frustrated older adults. And it's like, why? Who is programming the stuff? We don't want to be interrupted. We want to listen. Listening is such an important skill. Conversational AI is pretty good at it, but you have to program it. Can you believe that? The human technology and having these conversations, and I see podcasters all the time,
Yeah.
not listening to the next answer and
Yeah.
where we connect, because that connectivity is huge. Well, I have a
Yeah.
final question for my co-host was supposed to come today. He's so busy, but I want to continue maybe with another question after that. But this is really an important one that make you think, Denise. And he's asked every celebrity this, and this is a very one. So get ready, eyes and ears, focus. Here it is. Denise? What is the most important thing in life you've ever learned?
Wow. Then I'm okay. That's it. I'm okay. I lost your sound.
No, I was going to say expound a
Oh,
little bit on that. I'm okay. What do you think? Just I'm okay.
yeah, I'm okay.
What does that mean? Define that.
Wait a minute, let me turn this thing down. Ay, ay, ay. Well, I think in my childhood, and all of this stuff is in my memoir, I had some missing links or missing planks. So I think for a good deal of my work life, I've been trying to put my mental, intellectual Denise with my emotion, heart Denise into a single human being. And I think, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but when I started writing, that's when I became the Denise that's sitting here right now. I was
Yes.
always a good interviewer when I was an actress. I did so many promotion trips over the years, starting with Room 222. I mean, I traveled everywhere talking about the show, but I was not talking about myself. I was selling. That's what I was doing. So writing, although it's going to have to be sold, is giving me, it pulls all my pieces together into one whole.
Mhm.
That's what writing does for me. So I
So,
guess that's the therapeutic side of it. I don't tend to think of it when I'm working that it's therapy. I'm just, I better get this right or I'm not going to get this deal. That's the way. And in that way, it's the same as acting. Let's get it right or you don't work. So,
and I see it's so amazing. I see how somehow we're so interconnected as human beings. The conversation that you brought up Detroit, I had another guest on today that I interviewed, and she had a memoir out, and
mhm,
she works with Gabrielle Union. It was really intriguing
mhm.
interview. It fits perfectly for my radio show. And I'm like, wow, I didn't plan this. I didn't
That's
plan
great.
this for the show, but the variety of people you get to learn from is so powerful. Uh,
Yeah.
so lastly, what do you want? And also, Felicia Rashad wrote the foreword. That's
Mhm,
fantastic for you as well. What do you
mhm.
want people to pick up this book to get from this person?
Experience different people's life stories, experience the experiences of others so that you might learn something about yourself or your own journey. There's that part of it. Then there's simply the beauty of language. When people handle language well and use it well, it's a gorgeous thing. I think that because I loved English classes when I was in school. So that's a part of it. And I want people to read it, maybe not sit down and just read it like you're reading a novel, from front page to back, because there's so many different kinds of experiences in the anthology. You will learn something about different kinds of people. For example, Charles Floyd Johnson is one of the writers. He's a big TV producer. He produces NCIS. He's been producing TV shows since I was on Room 222. So that's a long time ago. But his life experience, and not just his work experience, his life experience, where he comes from, he comes from Maryland or someplace weird like that. I mean, small on the ocean on the East Coast. And I didn't know any of that until he started writing in my class, and he started writing memoir pieces that his family had like a soda fountain shop with a television. And when there was a fight on, all the people would come from the neighborhood who didn't have TVs and look at the fight on TV or look at whatever was special coming on TV. So I'm sitting there going, my goodness, I didn't know this about this person. And that's true of everybody in the workshop. They all have had very particular, precious life experiences, some not so great, some painful and difficult, but you learn from people. You learn from
Yes,
people.
absolutely. Very, very powerful. People can pick up the book. Where can they get it?
Yes, you can get it at Amazon. You can go on bookbaby.com. I think it's bookbaby.com. All the major internet outlets, unless they're out of stock.
Is there any place for the follow you? People can follow you social
Um,
media wise.
in terms of what? Say again.
Social media for you.
Oh, no. Uh-uh.
No social. Okay.
Uh-uh. I
It's
mean,
such an
I'll do a
important to
little bit
share.
more as it gets closer to publication time. Boy, that takes a lot of time and energy
That's
doing.
why you needed someone like me, but we'll talk about that. All right. Appreciate it. It's for your book, your next book.